So, back to what I was saying, dogs. In that era, Mason and them, they weren't out. Only thing you heard from Bad Boy at the time was who? Biggie.
No.
Junior Mafia was talking. They had Little Kim.
Total and
They had Little Kim. Little Kim was popping. I'm not saying she was.
Total.
Nigga, they're not rapping. So what? If you're talking about you want to compare labels. I'm not comparing labels. Alright, so I'm comparing rappers, motherfucker. Okay. Stick to the script. Stick to the script. You're not sticking to the script. I'm not talking about no fucking singers. I'm talking about rappers.
So what's the question? You said
who was hot rappers at that era? I'm not talking about fucking Toto, Marvin Gaye, and the rest of the faggots. Who the fuck is talking about that?
I'm saying, wait, I'll let you talk first. Go ahead.
I'm talking about rappers at that era who was competing for the crown.
Okay.
And the people that was competing for the crown, I can honestly say, it was Mobb Deep that was out there popping. What, the Infamous wasn't hot? That's a classic fucking out. I think that's better than Ready to Die.
Like you need to say you local.
I think that's better than Ready to Die. If you want to ask me. You don't think the Infamous was better than Ready to Die? Or you should be a political? You was in 6th grade.
I went and saw the performance club right across the street from my house. It was at the range. You have to listen.
How old were you then?
That wasn't the Infamous. I was like what, 15? If that,
hold on. Like I said though, the Infamous was popping at that time. Alright, so Mobb Deep was at his height. 96, they came out with Hell on Earth. So you talking about a whole conglomerate that was popping at that era. The Purple Tape was out, my man. The Purple Tape. Niggas don't even call that shit Only Built for You. They call it the fucking Purple Tape.
Okay.
That's crazy. And then you had Nas out. Come on, man.
But listen,
what are we talking about?
What you understand is that was big in New York City. In New York City.
That wasn't just big in New York City. Nas made a 3.5 platinum off of It Was Written. So how's that just big in New York? New York is not just buying.
You said no. We're talking about Mobb Deep and all this.
I talk about everybody. I'm talking about everybody in that era.
But listen,
Wu-Tang was doing fucking shows in China. Yeah, cause I don't want to hear shit.
That's because it's Wu-Tang. That's different.
Oh no.
That's individual rappers. We're talking about individual rappers. Don't say. Ray Cole was nowhere to fucking be heard. Right? He was making noise, but he wasn't popping.
Man, Ice Cream wasn't popping.
My man was in on the
Ice Cream wasn't popping.
Ice Cream was on the Billboard chart. No, I don't think it was.
Yes, it was.
I don't think it was.
Yes, it was.
Everybody been on the
Ice Cream wasn't on the Billboard chart. Ice Cream was their single, dogs.
Urban Spin.
Ice Cream was their single, dogs.
My man, that shit was nowhere on the top 10 Billboard charts. My man, that shit was not written. It was popping, but it wasn't.
Listen, the argument you saying that these rappers suck, saying that their music wasn't good, but you gotta think about who we talking about. We talking about Bad Boy. I know we talking about artists, but we talking about Bad Boy. A Bad Boy artist, Biggie Smalls. He was on a different level. His music was on a different level. His music reached people that these people it didn't reach. Dogs. No one knew who these people were.
How much did outside? Alright, let me ask you something.
You act like Nas.
Let me ask you. Everybody.
There's people to this day don't know who Wu-Tang. Nas didn't even eat off his album like you're saying.
Time out. I'm not saying I don't care what kind of structure deal he did. We're not talking about that. Biggie didn't eat off his deal. Biggie sold his publishing for $200,000.
That's a deal.
Alright. So why are you bringing it up? I don't know. But listen, hold on. Let me just say this real quick. Let me get this out. The West Coast had its own thing. The West Coast wasn't listening to nobody but the West Coast at the time. That's why he was beefing with us. Let's get that clear. The West Coast wasn't feeling Biggie. The South barely was feeling Biggie. So y'all acting like y'all acting like all these people at that time and era. The East Coast was the East Coast. The West Coast was and they had their own thing.
My man, you can say whatever you want.
What are you saying?
6 on Smash for $1.
If you would ask me a question in that era who's popping in New York, you would have a bigger argument. But when you saying it's
I'm saying at that time in that era from what we was going through, my man, I can't speak for the West Coast. Cause I know the West Coast didn't fuck with Big. They didn't fuck with Nas. They didn't fuck with the East Coast. So to sit there and say Biggie was popping over there, you're wrong.
it doesn't matter, but they knew who they was.
They know who all of them is. They know who the Infamous was. Alright, you know what? I got something better for you. When you saw 8 Mile, who instrumentals were they bumping? In 8 Mile the movie.
So
Because I'm gonna tell you why. Let me tell you why. Don't fry your face up and look froggy. Let me tell you why. Because Eminem's a nigga who went back to his era when he was coming up as a rapper. And he said, this is what I was listening to. This is the beats I was listening to. And guess what the beats was? It was fucking Wu-Tang. It was mostly Mobb Deep. Because that was the era the motherfuckers in the Midwest was listening to at that time.
What does that have to do with the price?
What I'm saying is,
that doesn't have anything to do with who had
York City, man. What's up, man? Y'all ready?
Ready to go hit the club, man.